R360 is a league of the rarest of individuals who've accumulated extraordinary wealth, yet they have audacious dreams to change the world for the better. We teach them how to grow their wealth way beyond money. Have you ever heard the proverb, give someone a fish, you feed them for a day? Teach them to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. Well, we believe that the same fundamentals apply to money. R360 teaches individuals and families that to achieve your full potential, you need to discover all forms of capital: financial, intellectual, social, human, emotional, and spiritual, which spells fishes. And learning how to catch these fishes is what R360 families master. Welcome to Fortunate Fishes, Secrets of Success from R360. I'm Charlie Garcia. In the cold of Sudbury, Canada, Mark Moses' knack for sales emerged before he could even peer over the counter, marking the beginning of an extraordinary journey. Mark had to fund his own college education, which he did through a painting business that eventually became Los Angeles' fastest growing company. He founded CEO Coaching International, where he's mentored over 1,000 entrepreneurs across the globe, driving them to achieve profitability growth nearly 4 times the national average. Mark is a man who competes with himself, pushing beyond limits to seize titles like Ernst & Young's Entrepreneur of the Year, U.S. National Squash Champion, and crossing the Ironman finish line 12 times. His ambition isn't just for accolades, it's for impact. Serving on boards and donating to causes close to his heart, Mark proves that true excellence isn't just about what you win, but what you give back. Mark Moses is a testament to the grit and gumption it takes to turn the tables on fate, proving that with enough discipline, even the underdog can make big happen. Welcome, Mark. I'm so excited to have you in the studio today.
Thanks, Charlie. Good to be with you.
So one of the things that your amazing background doesn't capture is how your family went from Romania to Canada, Istanbul to Mexico, and you grew up in a small town called Sudbury. Tell us about that.
Well, it was interesting to think of my grandparents coming from Europe and ending up in this little mining town. There's truly nothing going on there. And it was an amazing place to grow up. I didn't know any different. And it's amazing to have moved on to a different part of the world now.
Well, I imagine your mom, Dora, must have had a challenging time moving from Mexico City. So cosmopolitan too.
She did not like it for the first 10 years. She was just miserable. It was so cold. It was so small. And we grew up there speaking Spanish as our first language in this small town.
So were you Marquito to your mother?
Yo era Marquitos.
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 Wow. Well, I want to start with financial capital. And what I've discovered on these interviews is that there's often a trigger that goes off, and sometimes it's something in the childhood that's traumatic, sometimes it's just something else, but you're obviously born as an achiever. We're both Olympians. But what was the trigger that caused you to create great wealth?
We grew up really simplistic. And my dad had this small business, and he went to work every day. He worked 6 days a week. He worked hard. And then there was
what was it, a clothing store?
The Schmata business. It was, he had a men's clothing store, and in a town where it was all mining, and he sold suits to men when they need them for special events. During the journey, there was a terrific difficult economic time, and the mines went bankrupt.
Oh, wow.
Sorry. The mines went on strike, and my dad went bankrupt.
Wow. And how old were you at the time?
When he went bankrupt, I was 17.
Wow.
but I watched him struggle for a couple of years. And to watch your father, who you have such high regard for, struggle and then come home every day with doing the best he could to have a good attitude, and he always did, was tough. And to watch how difficult my Latin Mexican mom was on my dad, it was hard to watch.
Wow, well, that explains a lot because, you know, you're one of the members who started to create great wealth in college, where most people, if they go, are studying and working hard. Tell us about how this triggered you to start making money in your first big business that really started in your college years.
I didn't have a choice to make money because my dad apologized. He didn't have any money for me to go to college, and if I wanted to go to college, I needed to pay for it myself.
Wow.
I had saved a little bit of money from my lifeguarding days, and then I remember I needed to start my own business when I was 19. So it was started out of fear that I just needed to find a way to make enough money to pay for college. And it was amazing. The greatest gift my dad ever gave me was his bankruptcy, because it really taught me the need to fend for myself. And if I really wanted what I wanted, I needed to figure out how to fend for myself.
So tell us about how you start making money in college.
So I saw a sign in the Career Center that said, "Be your own boss, make $5,000 to $15,000 in the summer," and I thought, "Oh my God, that's me!" And it was
And what year was this?
This is 1985.
Well, that's a lot of money back then. Yeah.
Yeah, and my first summer, I made $18,000 painting homes. And so I hired other students that I was going to school with. I gave them a job painting homes, and the company taught us how to sell, how to price, how to hire people, how to interview them, how to hold them accountable. All this was an amazing concept. I wasn't really getting into the painting business. I was getting into the business of business.
Excellent.
And that was the catalyst to teach me how to run a business.
And how did you do the next summer?
Oh, the next summer, it was amazing. I made $35,000 the next summer. It only cost me $4,500 a year to go to school. And I thought, oh my God. Wow. And I was going to school to be an accountant. And it was like, I don't need to be an accountant anymore. I don't even want to be an accountant. I can hire an accountant. I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Wow, good for you. So what lessons have you learned, takeaways? And I know you've had the painting business, you've had a billion-dollar mortgage company, you have a coaching business that's global. What are the kind of key takeaways that you've learned about accumulating wealth, being successful in business?
It was never about accumulating wealth. I didn't grow up with wealth. It was about pursuing your dream. And I learned that if you believe in yourself, you can achieve anything that you want. I also learned that there's no limits on how big you can think. And I as a guy that's short, at 5'4", I believe that think big has always been my motto. And if you think big and act big, maybe someday you will be big.
And you do a great job in your book. I've read your books. Give us just a little bit about each one and the takeaways, because if somebody really wants to get all your business lessons, there's just a very easy place to get it, and that's to read your books.
Well, the first book, Make Big Happen, was really about 4 questions. And they're simple. Yeah. What do you want? What do you have to do to get what you want? What's going to stand in the way? Mm-hmm. And how do you hold yourself accountable to get what you want? And it's really about my story and my journey, and then the stories of others I've had the opportunity to coach over the years. And it's inspiring for anybody that is wanting to pursue their own journey. The second book, Making Big Happen, for years people were asking me, what is it?
Framework. Give us a framework that we
Yeah,
can work
it's
on. Yeah.
tell us, what is it that the most successful people have versus those that aren't as successful? So we wrote about the methodology and the structure. We call it the Make Big Happen system. And it is really about the methodology. We did 30 case studies on those that performed way better than all of the rest, and what the methodologies were and the best practices they used to achieve the outcomes that they really wanted.
Right. Now, Make Big Happen is something big for you in terms of, it's the name of your boat, but what does Make Big Happen mean to you? What does that mean to you? Where did it come from?
Yeah, where did it come from is a great question. It is, I think it's a way of life in that anybody can achieve anything they want if they want to, and they're passionate to go out and achieve it. So for me, Make Big Happen means you get to choose what big means to you, and then you can just go out there and make big happen.
Well, one of the things that I admire about you, because I have the same kind of philosophy, I don't believe in failure. And I think that the more you fail, the more you learn through your failures. And I know, talking to some of your buddies back in the painting days, it's like, Marcia, just go paint the house. But I've never painted a house before. You'll figure it out as you go along. Tell us about the you don't have a fear of failure. And I think that is an obstacle that really holds back millions and millions of people from doing anything.
You know what, Charlie, I don't know that that's entirely true. And my real story on this is I do have a fear of failure, but it drove me, this fear drove me to want to win and want to be successful. I was always fearful that I didn't want to have the misfortune that happened to my father happened to me. And when I was running my mortgage business, at one point, Wall Street pulled out of my business and I went broke. And literally, I was a couple hours, bankruptcy schedules were filled out, and we were going to file at noon on October 13th, 2000. And 2 days before, my awesome business partner, who's charming and a great guy, met some guy who ended up writing us a check without an agreement that arrived just before we were going to file bankruptcy. And it was humbling, and we were so grateful, and we were allowed to fight another day, and we fought back, and not only we fought back and survived, we thrived.
Wow, that's awesome. Moving to intellectual capital, you have a growth mindset. I know you're always learning, and if you had to go back and write your younger self a letter with everything you've learned now, what would you tell your 25, 26-year-old self?
I would say the following. Think big. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not possible. You can achieve anything you want if you believe in yourself. Go for it. Pursue what you're truly passionate about. And along the journey, you're going to bump into obstacles. It's part of the journey. It happens. And it's not that you're going to have those, it's how you deal with those when they come up.
Right, and they will come up.
They will come up for everybody. No one is going to escape. Like life can be hard, and you deal with it as it comes. And this too shall pass.
Right, and you mentioned a partner, and I've had good partners and I've had not so good partners, and they can ruin you if you don't. What have you learned along the way about picking good partners?
Yeah, I too have had. I've had one great partner and one not great partner, and what I've learned is it. I like to say it this way: if you're sleeping in the same bed, make sure you're dreaming the same dreams, and that integrity really matters, and then communication and transparency really matters too. I like being vulnerable and really here's where we are.
Right.
And like Jim Collins says, you got to recognize the brutal truths of your own reality and just owning that, but owning it and being aligned. And then once you make the decision to do whatever you're going to do, agreement is optional and commitment is not.
No, that's smart. So we mentioned your two books, but aside from those, is there any book that you give away the most or you would recommend to anyone that wanted to have success in life, business, wealth accumulation? What's been important to you?
Hey, I love to read, and my favorite author of all time is Jim Collins. I have read all his books. Okay. And my favorite book, and I can quote you a lot of one-liners out of it because I really deeply believe in them, is Great by Choice. It is, that's not true. It is my favorite book of all times, is Good to Great. My second favorite of Jim Collins' work is Great by Choice.
Great by Choice. Is that the one where he talks about why companies fail over the long term?
that one's the Why the Mighty Fall, which is a great book. Great by Choice talks about the 20-mile march in the book.
Yes,
Fire a bullet first before firing a cannonball, meaning take a small bet before you take the big bet. He talks about return on luck,
right.
And sometimes you get good luck and sometimes you get bad luck. It's what you do with the luck that will be how a situation ultimately turns out. People get, you can have a lot of good luck but not know how to capitalize on the luck too, right?
So on the social capital front, you've always, I don't know, since day one, you've always been thinking about others and how to benefit others. How do you do that in your life? How do you do it with your spouse, with the vet, with your kids? How do you think about taking the blessings that you've been able to generate and share them with others?
I like to make a difference in everything that I do. And so as it relates to others, I love people, but I like to focus on the people and the things that increase my energy and eliminate the people and things that deplete it. So
no energy vampires.
Right. I'm
Right.
too old and too tired. No drama. It's one of the values in my business is no drama. And I like to inspire people. I like to be around people that are passionate and motivated and inspire people to believe that they can achieve what they want to achieve if they want to.
So, but for somebody watching this that has one or two people in their life, they could be family, it could be friends, that are sucking the life out of them, how important is it to let those people go so that you can achieve the things that you want to achieve?
Well, some people want to hang on to that because of whatever their own baggage is. Mm-hmm. I believe if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
Well, that is so important to get rid of energy vampires. But the other thing on the social front that you've done very, very well, you have cultivated deep friendships and relationships with people, and you don't go into it with what am I going to get out of them, and also networks. So how have people and networks, whether it's EO, YPO, other things, R360, been a part of your life and important in your success?
Yeah, so I have deep long-term friendships, and they're really important to me. and deep friendships in the other organizations that I've participated in.
And you're probably very deeply loyal to your friends too.
Deeply loyal, and sometimes to a fault. I've had them in my own business, and sometimes the people that get you from A to B aren't the same people that get you from B to C. And while I am a great teacher or coach on this, it's sometimes hard to be the patient, and I'm a much better coach than I am patient because I am guilty as charged for these deep, long, loyal relationships for the people I care about.
And what advice would you have for an entrepreneur? Because the biggest mistakes I've made is holding on to folks who were good to get you to 3 million in revenues, but will never get you to 10 or 20 or 30. How do you, what advice do you have for people to take care of the people that have been good to them, but yet also take care of the business that's growing so they can help more people?
Yeah, Jim Collins likes to say the only way to deliver to the people achieving is not to burden them with the people that aren't achieving. And so I like to think about it this way. Look out 3 years from now, and what does the dream team look like for you in your business or in your journey or in your life? And surround yourself with those people today, and you'll wake up 3 years from now achieving that. And I like to tell my kids that you are the average of your 5 closest friends.
I love that.
And if you're the smartest guy in the room, well, maybe you ought to find a new room.
That's like sitting at the poker table and you don't know who the shill is. It's like, well, it's you. So, Mark, intellectual capital also is about learning new skills, and all the things that you've done globally. How do you teach yourself skills that you're not just naturally good at? How do you do it?
It's great. I'm the kind of learner that I need to see it. So I like to meet people and have them show me. I've been struggling for example, with the transfer of wealth and building my own estate plan for my family, and build one that's appropriate, that is fair, yet doesn't entitle or destroy ambition with my kids or future generations. So what R360 has been really good for me for is talking to others that have already been down that road, and then find the pieces that work for my own situation. So I like to leverage some of the friendships and relationships I have to learn from them.
Great. And you like to learn hands-on. So you've had coaches, you've had mentors,
Sure,
as well.
the coaches in sport,
For everything.
for
And
everything, right? I just find that
find someone that's already achieved what you want to achieve, so you don't have to make the same mistake.
yeah, it helps bring out the best in me, right? And I got into the coaching business so I could help others bring out the best in them, because it worked for me, and I'm sure it works for those that are open to it.
Yeah, I had a grandfather once said, when you learn to shave, try to learn on someone else's face first. So I always love that, because like anything you want to accomplish, someone's done it first, and they probably made 20 mistakes, so why don't you learn the mistakes so you don't make them yourself?
For sure.
So in the human capital, your body, your health, your nutrition, exercise, how important has that been for you? I mean, we saw in your bio all the things that you've done, Ironmans and marathons, but how important has that been in fueling your success?
This is one of the things, Charlie, that I'm the most passionate about these days. I turn 59 next week, and
Congratulations.
I am super passionate about healthy living. And so I believe the most important part of healthy living is sleep, is number one. You sleep well, And you and I have talked about this in the past.
I don't sleep well, so I'm a
you-
sleep doctor. I've 3 years working on it, but yes, that's
Yeah,
important.
so sleep is number one. Diet, what goes into your body, is number two, and third is exercise. Followed by my new learning has been health of the mind. This one's been a little bit harder for me, and I work at it every day. Meditation and breathing exercises. It's amazing. And I have rituals. When I get up every morning, I do a series of things.
What is your ritual? I think this is important.
Yeah, so first, my gratitude journal, my intention for the day, the daily act of kindness that I did the day before, wins from the prior day. I do my brain HQ, which I learned
The
about
game,
it. Yeah,
right?
yeah, I learned about it at R360. And this morning I was 177 days in a row doing my brain HQ. And so this is
And the idea is just every day to just be a little bit better, right?
And look, you do get a little bit
Yeah.
better every day. And some days aren't as good as others, but I am finding myself getting a little bit better and sharper on the memory, sharper on the reflexes, and I love the way that it pushes one to get better. Then I do my exercise, and then I start my business day at 11. And that way it gives me the morning to do all the things I want to do, a little bit of reading as well every day, and that's my typical day every day.
Excellent. So sum it up, because you went through it kind of quickly. What is the daily ritual? And if you do something before going to bed, what's that ritual? Going to bed and getting up.
Yeah, so I like to go to bed at the same time. I go to bed early, and I like to be in bed by 9:30, lights out by 10. And then when I get up in the morning, I have my gratitude journal, my intention, my daily act of kindness, my wins, my brain HQ, my daily exercise.
And why is the gratitude and the kindness important? Because obviously you've learned this somewhere. What does it do for you that makes you successful during the day?
Well, the gratitude, the intention, and the kindness makes you reflect upon what's really important. So being grateful for what I'm about to do or what happened the prior day, having true intention about what do you want to do for this day. And the daily act of kindness reminds me that being kind to somebody, it's so easy to do. It costs you nothing, and it makes an impact in their life, what in turn makes an impact in my own life.
Great. Going to emotional capital now. A lot is about emotional is the resilience to bounce back from failures or deeply disappointing things. You already talked about, your dad's bankruptcy when you were a young man. You were in college then, and how that affected you. But what are other things in your life, and how have you dealt with them? I know in 2004, with your son, you went through a very difficult thing, and we all have issues like that that set us back. What was it? How did you deal with it? And how do you learn to bounce back quickly?
Yeah, that's a great question. I like to, I think about it this way, worry about what I do have control over. And with my son's brain tumor.
He's a Mason.
Yeah, Mason at
How
3
old
years
was he?
old.
3 years old. Wow.
3 years old. He had multiple brain surgeries, and he had a 50-50 chance. And it was just devastating for my wife and me and our family. And I made every effort to focus on the things I did have control over. My wife's a lot more emotional than I am, and she really dwelled in the emotion where I dwelled on what's on the to-do list, what
Right.
can I do? And as I bumped into adversity along the way, this is kind of one of my favorite sayings, that nothing ever great was achieved without adversity. and the desire to march on. And I truly believe that this too shall pass. And I have a belief that everything is meant to turn out the way it's supposed to turn out. And you can get through anything. And sometimes it's hard. And sometimes there's misfortune along the way.
Right.
And it's how you deal with it.
So part of it, because it's the things you tell yourself is what I'm hearing, because there's a lot of self-talk that can be negative. There's other self-talk that could cultivate a positive mental attitude. And throughout the interview, you've said this, that. So there's things that you tell yourself over and over that are part of you, they're part of your value system. And how do you cultivate that positive mental attitude? You say you read a lot, you have coaches. What else? I mean, obviously part of it was your upbringing, but
I think it comes from within. When I jump out of bed in the morning, I have two choices. Today is going to be a great day, or today's going to be a great day. And I don't think about it any other way. It's whether you're born with that or that is taught, I just believe go out and seize the day. And you've heard me say this before. There are three kinds of people: those that make big happen, those that let things happen, and those that ask, what happened?
I love that.
And I'm just going to go out and make big happen every day, but that's a choice.
it is a choice. And we're both Olympians, so we push ourselves and others pretty hard. But spirituality, what are your spiritual beliefs and how important have they been in your foundation and in your life?
So I'm Jewish, and I am not very observant, although we do observe some of the holidays. I don't like to go to temple. I get bored there. But I'm a proud Jewish guy. One of the attractions for me for meeting others through R360 was I know that this is an area, spirituality, something that I can get better at, and I can learn what others have learned about their own spirituality. And I'm anxious to continue that journey. Of all the forms of capital, this is the area that I believe I'm the weakest at, and I have room for improvement.
Well, so do I. I thought I was pretty good in this area. I was interviewing one of our members who's Muslim, and he gave me a copy of the Quran, which when I asked him what was the book that he normally gives out, so I actually read it. It's like, wow, why was I 60 years old before I read this? It's pretty incredible. Wow. But we define spirituality very broadly. It's not necessarily attached to a religious organization. It could just be your sense of purpose, your why. Why are you here? How important is it to be aligned around, your life purpose and staying true to that and your values?
Yeah, I think absolutely imperative and impactful. And I think that's part of what makes me feel the way I feel. I want to make a difference in everything that I do every day. So think about that. That is, when you're achieving that every day, that's inspiring. And then you get to do what you're really passionate about. And I love it. I love to live my life that way.
Wow. Well, one of the things that came out loud and clear from talking to family, friends, was the values that you've imparted, even, your kids when you were young. And at the very top of the list, and you mentioned it briefly here, is integrity, honesty, giving back, loving family, friends, being loyal to those around you, hard work, and not being afraid to fail quickly and often and learn from it.
As my kids grew up, they must have heard me say this so many times. And if you asked either one of them, they would shoot you straight on this. I wanted to raise kids that were resilient kids that learned how to fend for themselves. And my kids grew up different than I did. They grew up with wealth, and I wanted them to learn how to create their own path and their own journey. And life isn't easy sometimes, and you will fail. And you learn so much from those failures. And it also teaches you that resilience, so you can fend for yourself.
Awesome. Any final message that you would like to give to the audience, struggling, trying to be successful, look at you like this unbelievable figure, how could I ever do what Mark has done with his life? What advice would you give to someone that's just starting out on this journey?
Well, many people have been where you've been, and define what it is that you really want, and that do what it is that you're truly passionate about, that'll move you and inspire you. And if you begin to do what you're really passionate about, and that what inspires you, you'll inspire others and uplift yourself.
Well, I was going to let you go, but I have one last question. You have an amazing partner, your wife, Yvette, and your partner, particularly your spouse, could make you or break you. What advice do you have around that and keeping that relationship strong?
Charlie, I am so passionate about this. If you ask me, the biggest thing that I have learned in my life is that whether you're lucky or not and how you get here, the number one thing that I've learned that has determined my happiness is who I've chosen to marry. It's just been easy. My wife is awesome, and how I got so lucky to have met her on a blind date and have this work out the way it did. I'm just a lucky guy, and
but you work on it, you know.
We do. We do work on it. Our annual meeting, our weekly meetings, and all the rituals that we have around the family as a result of that. But it is. I feel very fortunate and lucky to have met Yvette and to have the relationship and life that we have together.
Well, congratulations, and thank you for coming, and thank you for being my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. I truly appreciate you and our relationship.